Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, bringing a voice to America's forgotten working class, speaking the truth for the America that Washington left behind, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. This is Trump Talk Live, where we the people have the right voice, presented by the Republican Party of Volusia County. Now, here are your hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter.
Greetings, fellow American Patriot Trumpublicans, and welcome to the White House musical chairs, Game of Thrones, Congressional Flatline, North Korea, Nuclear Madness, Immigration Reform, Scandal a Minute episode of Trump Talk Live, the home of fearless truth-telling about President Donald Trump and his mission to make America great again, even if it hurts trying. Well, another breathtaking denouement and sequence of maneuvers worthy of a Game of Thrones plot. Just 10 days after emerging as a shooting star of the new Trump White House, Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci crashed to earth in a pile of his own vulgar leaks to a New Yorker reporter. Remember, Mooch was the one who came in promising to plug the leaks on fire every single leaker. Well, he did manage to expedite the departure of White House Chief of Staff REINCE PRIEBUS and White House spokesman Sean Spicer, elevating Sara Huckabee Sanders to the press room podium, but he fell on his own sword tongue, sloppy talk. Enter the distinguished General and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly to calm the turbulent waters. Kelly now holds the keys to the Oval Office and perhaps even President Trump's vaunted Twitter account. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, who's been purging Trump people from the White House, may be the next one to see his way to the war front in Afghanistan. President Trump's new 4-star general and chief of staff John Kelly may move the 3-star general aside and dispatch him to command troops in Afghanistan. Trump's trusted CIA chief Mike Pompeo may then take the national security advisor job. Steve Bannon is still a survivor so far in this White House. North Korea has fired an ICBM capable of reaching the U.S., so President Trump has a difficult and limited range of options. A preemptive military strike could cost millions of lives. Dealing with China may lead to a trade war. No easy answers here, but an answer will be forthcoming nonetheless. Former Obama National Security aide Ben Rhodes is now a person of interest in the unmasking and leaking of names to hurt Trump. Democrat Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz has some explaining to do about how she and Democrats in Congress paid millions to a Trojan horse Pakistani and his cronies, putting national security at risk. Stunning claims that murdered DNC aide Seth Rich may have been the one who actually leaked the DNC emails and not the Russians. How about that? And that he may have handed them over to that Russian attorney who met with Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower. Sara Huckabee Sanders takes the media to the woodshed over their breathtaking double standards in tearing down Trump. And White House senior advisor Steve Miller takes CNN's Jim Acosta to school on the real history of immigration in America. No, Emma Lazarus did not write an immigration law. Give us your tired alibis, your poor excuses, your fabricated fake news, yearning to breathe free of the truth. It's a poem, Jim. It's not the law. I'm your Trumpublican mouthpiece, Vic Baker, co-hosting Trump Talk Live tonight with a man who sees red every time he meets a Democrat sorely in need of reform. Volusia County Republican Chairman Tony Ledbetter. Tony. Oh, and by the way, we want to call out, and we got a shout out tonight, filling in for Duncan DeMarsh and the president of the Volusia Tars. We have with us Jacob Scott, president of the Seminole County Tars. Get behind the windows, guys, and say hi. They're coming to join us, the crew of Seminole County. Another loyal Republican group of teenage Republicans. Just be careful. You don't get tangled up, guys. Say hi to the camera. And now to Tony Ledbetter.
All right, great.
Switch around.
That was a good one there, Vic. Thank you. I apologize. With my job as chairman of the county, I do have other things to do. We last Thursday night interviewed 2 fantastic school board candidates that we will be telling you more about as we get into the 2018 cycle. But we've got some good people on track to do that. I wake up every day thanking God that President Trump is our president, because I know for a fact that had he not got elected, we would be in a lot of trouble. I also wake up every day worried about the fact that we can't believe the news media, which is a shame because, I'm 70 years old. When I grew up, I could watch TV and believe what they said. Today, you can't watch TV and believe what they said. That's why we're here to make sure that you know all the positive things that President Trump is doing, call out all the fake news. And I want to encourage you one more time, go to Volusia County Republican Facebook. You will find no more better informed Facebook page in the entire state of Florida. There's 67 counties. Vic and I put up more stuff every day to promote the good things that President Trump is doing and also to let you know about the fake news, and there's still plenty of it out there. There's a lot to go over tonight, so we'll get back to and see what Vic's got up next.
Okay, Tony, let's go on. We've got a lot of headlines just this afternoon. The Senate has actually confirmed anywhere between 65 and 80 Trump nominees that have been bottlenecked by Chuck Schumer, the schemer, and his crew. That's because Mitch said he was going to keep them through August if they didn't get it done, so they decided to do it. They didn't cancel the August recess. That's an outmoded custom and tradition that dates back to the time when people who belonged to Congress were actually farmers and had to get the crops in August. And also, they didn't have air conditioning back in the old days. But that's no longer the case. They need to get their work done, and they didn't get much done this session so far. So,
that's true. And I know that probably during the recess, I hope there's several hundred more that President Trump can insert in through the recess appointment situation. I think we have somebody on the phone.
We have a caller. Lee in Port Orange is on the phone. Welcome to Trump Talk Live, Lee.
Hi. I wanted to know your thoughts on why doesn't Trump just fire Mueller and we can be done with this Russian nonsense and he can get on with the business. He is making our country better again, but I wish he wasn't bogged down with this nonsense.
Well, Lee, I appreciate your sentiments. We would all like to see that happen, but I have a fear that if he were to do that, a lot of the weak-kneed members of Congress on the Republican side might abandon him. It's not at a point yet where he has that kind of position to do that. Once we get tax reform or health care taken care of and the economy starts soaring, it's going to be tougher for them to go after Trump. But right now, he's not in a position to do this. I think what can be done is we can point out that Mueller has some critical, almost fatal conflicts of interest in his friendship with Comey and other aspects that should disqualify him for the office. We try a legal means that way, but to directly fire him, I think, could be dangerous to Trump's presidency. So I think we have to see how this plays itself out. And if Trump has nothing to hide, we should be okay. But of course, there's always the creep of a special prosecutor, and the word creep does kind of come into mind when it comes to special prosecutors.
Well, and I love you got your Facebook page. I share a lot of your, just to try to reach a wider audience and try to make people focus on what's important instead of what the mainstream media is pushing. We
appreciate it, Lee. We thank you for calling in and appreciate your sentiments, and please spread the word about Trump Talk Live. Thank you for calling tonight. And H.R. McMaster, now we can put him up, H.R. McMaster, the National Security Advisor. It turns out in April, he granted a waiver to Susan Rice, who's already been exposed as an unmasker of many names of the Trump administration. He gave her a clearance to continue accessing national security items. This is unfathomable to me because she probably is the source of a lot of the leaks. And she and Brennan and Susan Power, the former UN ambassador, Samantha Power. I'm sorry,
this is unconscionable. The fact that President Trump trusted this guy, and as far as I know, and talking to Vic, I mean, he was not an Obama holdover, but yet he did this. From what we have read and what I've seen on Facebook already, he was let's face it. Who's been doing the leaking? I mean, if Susan Rice has had access since April to our intelligence intercepts and the whole 9 yards, then she's probably responsible for most of the leaks. And I hope that President Trump deals with this swiftly, or either the new general in the White House deals with this swiftly, because this is a leak leak hole that's got to be plugged immediately.
Yeah. Susan Rice Brennan and Samantha Power, the former UN ambassador, who had no business unmasking people's names. I think this is going to come to light. The new focus is going to be on those folks with Trey Gowdy's Intelligence Committee probe. Jeff Sessions is going to have a big announcement tomorrow about criminal investigation of leaks. He's going to have Dan Coates, the National Director of National Security, with him, and the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, to announce a massive criminal probe of the leaks. So we're hoping they're going to focus in on that. Now, among the leaks that happened just today were the details published by the Washington Post of Trump's conversations with the President of Mexico and the Prime Minister of Australia, where he had some rather, very frank discussions with them. And he asked the President of Mexico, who opposed the wall, paying for the wall, just to say, just be quiet about it, will you? Just be quiet about it. And Nieto did agree to be quiet about it, even though he said he still opposed it.
And didn't this actual phone call actually happen back
January?
Yeah,
January
so this actually happened back then,
Yep.
And then, of course, Susan Rice got access to the, so where she could see it and read it.
We don't know who.
We don't know that, but I mean, there's obviously she's the, she's the snake in the grass, and so I'll blame her for it.
Well, one of the people who came in with guns blazing to try to stop the leaks, Mooch. Scaramucci.
Sorry, Mooch
he
left.
came in like a bare-knuckled Queens brawler, and he went after REINCE Priebus. And, of course, Mooch managed to get rid of REINCE Priebus, and John Kelly came in. But the first thing that John Kelly demanded was that Mooch had to go because the vulgarity of the leaks and the lack of discretion in how they were purveyed was not acceptable to General Kelly. Well, Trump announced Kelly's the beginning of Kelly's term of service this Monday, and he had these remarks on his first day.
We just swore in General Kelly. He will do a spectacular job, I have no doubt, as Chief of Staff. What he's done in terms of homeland security is record-shattering. You look at the border, you look at the tremendous results we've had, and you look at the spirit. And with a very controversial situation, there's been very little controversy, which is pretty amazing by itself. So I want to congratulate you on having done a fantastic job, General, and we look forward to, if it's possible, an even better job as Chief of Staff.
Well, that pretty much sums it up. We have a caller. Ken in Ormond Beach is on Trump Talk Live. Ken, go ahead. Ken, you're on the air.
My concern goes to the special counsel. As a former police officer, the special counsel statute, it's a short little thing I can read real quick.
Sure.
It's 28 CFR 45.2, and it says specifically that a special counsel must step down if, it says, a personal relationship with anyone substantially involved in the investigation or prosecution. Well, Comey and Mueller are good friends. Now, my question is, it seems to me like the deep state is right in front of our president, because here you got Rosenstein. He's an attorney. He's a deputy attorney general. He appoints Mueller, who he knows is good friends with Comey, to the special counsel when he knows that he really can't. He shouldn't be doing that. If they want us to abide by the law, then these guys need to abide by the law. Mueller has no legal authority really to be there per the statute. He needs to step down.
Ken, your analysis is spot on. Attorney Greg Jarrett, who's also an anchor at Fox News, has said exactly the same thing. As an attorney, he cited the same statute and said it's not a question of his option. It says he must step down. So right, I think Trump could press the issue, but I think
it actually says shall, and shall in the law means you must.
Yeah, exactly.
So why isn't someone doing this? I mean, where's the senators and the congressmen talking about the equal justice of law for everyone, and Mueller has no business being in there. I mean, how can he get when I used to be a police officer and you go to court, I can't be testifying or the prosecutors would recuse themselves frequently if they had someone that was coming before them that was a friend or they knew something. You have to. That's common sense.
Well, have you ever gone to jury duty and they ask you if you know the prosecutor? I've got excused a number of times because I was personal friends with the prosecutor. There you go.
So here you have these supposedly best and brightest attorneys in the land that are the deputy attorney general and Mueller and Comey, these supposedly these pillars of society, but yet they're violating the law right in front of our face. I mean, it's right there, clearly, but they want everybody else to obey the law. To me, someone needs to step up, and whether it's, I don't know what the procedure would be, but I think that Sessions got to get rid of Rosenstein. He's
Sessions, the dream thing that possibly could happen, and this has been out in the news media, is they take Attorney General Sessions, move him over to DHS, and then put somebody new in the Attorney General's position who has not recused himself, and then they could do whatever needed to be done. But let's face it, we don't live in the real world anymore, because everybody is 100% against our president, and that's why nobody is stepping up, and that's why, if President Trump were to fire Mueller today, you think we've seen bad stuff? World War IV would start. And he just, he doesn't need that. But yet again, I've done a lot of reading on this, and we still have a 50-50 shot at, this thing not killing Trump, but killing Clinton. So,
well, law of unintended consequences. Yeah. But of course, I'll also say, Tony, that kind of scenario you laid out is not likely, because the Senate would be opposed to it in a big measure on both sides of the aisle. But the old expression goes, if wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. We will return with more Trump Talk Live in a moment.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We're not done yet. More Trump Talk Live is just ahead. In God we trust. In America we believe.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? Another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
Tired of waiting for your roof to be repaired? It's time to call AR1 Roofing. With AR1 Roofing, you're getting a provider with an A+ rating on Angie's List, meaning your friends and neighbors have used them and recommend them. Plus, they can offer a lifetime transferable warranty, and their referral program means you get $100 when they re-roof your referral's home or business. There's no need to wait for that roof repair. It's time to call AR1 Roofing. 386-279-2124. Visit them on Facebook and at ar1roofing.com.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Welcome back, Trumpublicans. John Kelly, the new chief of staff of the White House, has assured Jeff Sessions that he will not be forced to resign by the president. The president wants to keep him on. I think the purpose, Tony, of beating Sessions up verbally was just to get him to steel his reserve a little bit and fight a little bit more on behalf of Trump's cause, not be so, shall we say, wimpy in his approach to things. The recusal really upset Trump. Also, the list of likely successors to General Kelly at the Department of Homeland Security, which is very important. Rick Perry, who was governor of Texas for 2 terms at least, I believe, if not 3, and knows the border issues quite well, is considered a strong contender, which would then open up somebody to be replaced at the Energy Department. So the musical chairs games continue. Now, there is a war going on between Steve Bannon, behind-the-scenes counselor to the president, Tony, and McMaster. And no doubt in my mind, Bannon may be behind some of these leaks of information about how he fired and purged 4 or 5 loyal Trump Republicans.
That's good. I mean, if McMaster's up there purging pro-Trump Republicans out of the White House, then the general needs to escort him out of the White House.
What's more important than that, just that part, is the fact that he is trying to curb the advice given to the president about things like the Iran deal.
Yeah.
There was one staffer that was dispatched and fired after his report to the president was sidetracked, and the report was a means by which we could withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal, which Bannon seems to be, or not Bannon, McMaster seems to be in love with for some reason. He also doesn't seem to be that strong a supporter of Israel. So he seems to also have quite a friendly relationship with people like Susan Rice, which is quite questionable. So we'll have to see what happens with that aspect of stuff. But he fired a national security staffer who penned an article about the danger of the globalists And by the way, Putin has told the U.S. that we have to shed 755 diplomatic staff in Russia because of the sanctions that the Congress imposed, and the president had no choice but to sign it. Former Obama aide, Obamanista Ben Rhodes, the man who joked about how he duped the American public with Obamacare, and then he also was Deputy National Security Advisor under Obama. Well, Ben Rhodes is now a person of interest in the unmasking investigation as well. Trey Gowdy, not Kurt Gowdy. Trey Gowdy's House Intelligence Committee is going to be taking a very serious look at Ben Rhodes' role in the unmasking and possible leaks of information damaging to Trump. And so we have that. So he's a person of interest. New calls for criminal investigation of Obama aides in the unmasking scandal. They are going to be asking for a special counsel just for that. This whole thing is going to backfire at some point. They used to call this getting hoist with your own petards in the old days, when you're trying to fire a cannon into the castle wall and all of a sudden the thing turns around and blows your head off.
Right, and I think, too, that, Attorney General Sessions tomorrow is supposed to talk about this and what they're planning on doing, and I really believe it's what I said before. I don't like how he has put this thing together with all these Democrats, but I'm not 100% saying that it's going to be a negative thing. They are still in search of a crime because they haven't found a crime yet. So I believe that if Mueller is who everybody says he is, a long-time FBI agent, that hopefully he will do the right thing and bring in and start investigating, the Hilder beast on the other side. And so...
Yeah, well, let's put the shoe on the other foot for a moment. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, her IT
needs
aide,
to be in jail.
Imran Awan was caught trying to flee the country for Pakistan, caught at, I believe, Dulles Airport, trying to take off. He's caught up on a bank fraud charge, but apparently there's all sorts of shenanigans going on with this fella and his brothers, all Pakistani Muslims, and their cronies and their friends and family. And they were, everybody from a McDonald's employee to some other people were employed as IT aides, and they were mostly no-show jobs. And apparently the payroll, the Democrats shelled out of taxpayer money to these
where did the money go?
These folks, well, yeah.
Why are they working at McDonald's if they're getting $4 million?
$4 million over the several years of taxpayer money paid to these guys who had access virtually to the computers and emails of almost every member of Congress, if not every member of Congress. Then you ask yourself, we're worried about Russia hacking our election when our entire United States Congress, or at least the Democratic Congress people, are relying on these Pakistani nationals? He
had access months after all the Democrats in the House turned him off. They forbid him for doing anything, and then Debbie Wassermouth, Blabbermouth Schultz is what I call her. She gives him access to her passwords to get back into the same system. She needs to be sharing the same cell with him.
And she wanted to keep paying this guy even after his arrest. Now, a week has passed.
She wanted to keep paying him after he got back to Pakistan.
Well, that's right. And a week has passed now since the arrest of former House staffer Imran Awan, and the establishment media have given the event only superficial coverage. Awan, a Pakistani immigrant, was formerly employed by more than 30 House Democrats as an IT technician. Most members fired him following an announcement in February of an FBI probe into his potentially criminal behavior during his tenure as a Hill staffer. However, he remained an employee of Debbie Wasserman Schultz's D.C. office until his arrest last week while attempting to flee to Pakistan. Now, CNN has only made one or two on-air acknowledgments of this. The New York Times waited a week to talk about it. I mean, they're trying to just downplay it and forget about it. But this is not going to go away. This is going to explode. It's a can of worms, folks. It's a can of worms. Also, Seth Rich, they called it a wild conspiracy theory. This DNC staffer, 27-year-old DNC staffer, as it turns out, Seymour Hersh, former New York Times investigative reporter of some great repute. He was involved with the Pentagon Papers. Cy Hersh is putting out information. He believes he has information that Seth Rich was probably the guy who leaked the DNC Podesta emails to the Russian lawyer, Natalia Veselnitskaya. That's the woman who met with Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower. Now, the Kremlin was not the source of this stuff. It may have been the DNC staffer who wound up getting mysteriously murdered on the streets of Washington, D.C., and the cops from D.C. are notoriously incurious about how he died, since there was no sign of any actual robbery. He died a la Clinton, unfortunate circumstance. You know, all those folks that
anybody close to Clinton, I pray for you.
A new explosive claim by Radar Online may destroy the Russian collusion story forever. I call it the Russian collusion delusion. A GOP operative, Jack Burnham, claims that Seth Rich leaked DNC emails to Natalia Veselnitskaya, the same lawyer who met with Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower last year. So Berkman, a GOP-connected lawyer who's been probing Rich's death since the fall of 2016, tells Radar that Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya, who met Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower in New York City in June of 2016, also met around the same time with a murdered DNC employee. So, I mean, you connect the dots on that. And Cy Hirsch states that Seth Rich was the WikiLeaks source. An audio recording provided to Big League Politics by a source that currently wishes to remain anonymous, journalist Seymour Hirsch, confirms that Seth Rich had contacted WikiLeaks with sample emails from the leak. Hirsch cites an FBI document as proof of his claim. There are no DNC or Podesta emails that exist beyond May 21st or 22nd, emailed from either one of those groups. What the report says is that sometime in late spring he makes contact with WikiLeaks, and that's in his computer, he says. Anyway, they found that he had submitted a series of documents of emails, of juicy emails from the DNC. We have a caller, Sally, calling on a cell from...
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach.
Sally, welcome to Trump Talk
Tony.
Live.
Hi, Beck.
Hey.
Good to hear from you, Sally.
Job on the radio. It's so refreshing to hear, like, honest news reporting.
Oh, Sally from North Ormond Beach.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I live in Flagler County, but I still love all my...
I know, you're on the line up there.
Yeah, right on the line. I'm calling, though, about how great it is to hear anyone in the media talking about Seth Rich and Huma Abedin. They just found out a whole bunch of more emails, 91 emails for Hillary to deny.
Yep.
We're not hearing any of this in the mainstream press.
It's available, Sally. If you look at the same places I look every day, or Tony looks every day, I'm scouring all these websites. We have.
Oh, I see the websites.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the people.
Oh yeah, you know that they're ignoring.
Yeah, you want ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, all of them to talk about it, and I do too. But remember the Harvard study and. Where they came out and said that all of these people, 80-90% of the time, were producing fake news about the president. So
well, and then you have the people that are hearing the news, which is apparently the entire country has been infiltrated by snowflakes, and all they want to hear is, "Oh, everything is fine, and you don't have to do anything but vote for us." Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But I really believe, I have faith every day that the president, when he tweets, the media runs to follow the tweet, and he goes back to work and gets his job done. He's doing things every day to protect this country. I have faith in him, so I really don't care what the news media is doing. I have cut back a lot on what I watch.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time knowing that they're not going to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
I want to keep my blood pressure down, Sally. Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate your call. Thank you. Spread the word.
See you at the Lincoln Day dinner.
Oh, Sally's gone. Thank you, Sally, for your call.
Thank you, Sally.
Well, we've got to come to another break, after which we will get a little tongue lashing from Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. Keep your radio or phone app or computer right where it is for more Trump Talk Live, where good old-fashioned American common sense is making a comeback.
Love being on the water but don't want the hassles of owning a boat? Check out the affordable alternative, Freedom Boat Club. Get unlimited access to a fleet of center consoles, bow riders, deck boats, and pontoons. Just show up, get on the boat, and go. No cleaning, no maintenance, no storage. Just hassle-free fun. Freedom Boat Club in Daytona, New Smyrna, and Palm Coast. Join and enjoy unlimited boating at all 3 locations. Plus, Freedom Boat Club has over 100 locations in 21 states and Canada. They even sponsor exciting and fun social events, including trips to the Bahamas, Tomoka River trips, wine tastings, member parties, and more. Most of their current members are previous boat owners who say they're on the water about 5 times more than they used to be, because 100% of your time is spent enjoying the boat, not cleaning and repairing it. Call Sam for special pricing and to find out more about how to join the nation's oldest and largest boat club. Call 386-295-3696 or visit freedomboatclub.com. Don't miss the open house at the new Smyrna location from 11 to 3 Saturday, August 5th with special pricing for all 4 locations.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
All right, we're back. This is Tony Ledbetter. Want to talk about the 2017 Lincoln Day dinner. We're going to have the judge. And there's only one judge that I care about, and her name is Judge Jeanine Pirro. And I really believe in the statement I'm fixing to tell you. You know, President Trump is probably the number one hated person in the country of all the anti-Trumpers. The number 2 person that fills in that slot is Kellyanne Conway, and I believe the judge is in the 3rd slot. Because every single day, Kellyanne is defending the president, and every single day, the judge is defending the president. We're going to have a Lincoln Day dinner on October the 8th. It'll be at the Convention Center. If you want tickets, you can go to our website, recvc.org, or you can call my cell phone number, 386-235-7755. And we're going to have probably between 700 and 800 people at the convention center for the dinner. So next up is, of course, pizza in DeLand. Mary Marino is one of our sponsors. She has a pizza shop in DeLand. We've got Keith Plumbing Company, Milne Plumbing Company. He's one of our friends, 386-986-8688. That's his telephone number if you need roofing done, 386-986-8688. So, or if you want to help sponsor this show, you can call me at 386-235-7755 and make a donation to the party, because we do pay for this, and we're here every day to defend the president and make sure you know where the fake news is. What's next?
Okay, thanks, Tony. Just a little audio advice to folks. We're still working on the kinks in this show. We got the Facebook Live working, but apparently the audio feed is showing listening to us when we're off mic. So just forgive us if we said anything we shouldn't have said. But Huma Abedin's emails provide further evidence of Clinton pay scandal. That's another scandal coming up. Former Hillary aide Huma Abedin used her personal email account to transmit classified documents and coordinate favors for Clinton donors, according to emails obtained by Judicial Watch this week. Judicial Watch obtained the documents as part of a lawsuit filed on after the State Department failed to respond to a March 2015 Freedom of Information Act request. The emails reveal multiple instances in which Abedin used her personal account to send and receive classified documents, as well as arrange personal favors for the Clintons. Now, the media doesn't talk about this stuff. They'd rather talk about Donald Trump Jr. and all that other stuff. But at the White House press briefing, where we have a newly minted press secretary, Sara Huckabee Sanders, who's no slouch herself. She came, the apple didn't fall from the tree. Her dad is a good one, too. She basically, Sara, they asked her about a misleading statement from Don Jr. about the purpose of his meeting with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya at Trump Tower last week, or last year, that is. I'm learning how to say Veselnitskaya, because we're going to have to say it more frequently.
I just call her the lawyer.
So here's the interchange with the reporter and Sara.
Where at the time that Don Jr. had a meeting that was based on the pretext that he would be promised information that was negative about Hillary Clinton, when he suggested that the statement only say that the meeting was primarily about Russian adoption policy?
Like I said, the statement that was issued was true, and there were no inaccuracies in the statement. I think what the bigger question is, everybody wants to try to make this some story about misleading. The only thing I see misleading is a year's worth of stories that have been fueling a false narrative about this Russia collusion and based on a phony scandal based on anonymous sources. And I think that is, if we're going to talk about misleading, that's the only thing misleading I see in this entire process.
Sara went on to lay it all out, all the things that they've ignored while they're chasing down rabbit holes on the Trumps.
I think what the bigger question is, everybody wants to try to make this some story about misleading. The only thing I see misleading is a year's worth of stories that have been fueling a false narrative about this Russia collusion and based on a phony scandal based on anonymous sources. And I think that is, if we're going to talk about misleading, that's the only thing misleading I see in this entire process. You guys are focused on a meeting that Don Jr. had no consequence when the Democrats actually colluded with a foreign government like Ukraine. The Democrat-linked firm Fusion GPS actually took money from the Russian government while it created the phony dossier that's been the basis for all of the Russia scandal fake news. And if you want to talk further about a relationship with Russia, look no further than the Clintons. As we've said time and time again, Bill Clinton was paid $500,000 to give a speech to a Russian bank and was personally thanked by Putin for it. Hillary Clinton allowed 1/5 of America's uranium to reserve to be sold to a Russian firm whose investors were Clinton Foundation donors, and the Clinton campaign chairman's brother lobbied against sanctions on Russia's largest bank and failed to report it. If you guys want to talk about having relations, which you seem obsessed with doing, look no further than there. If you want to talk about somebody who's actually been tough on Russia, look at President Trump. He wants more fracking, more coal, more energy, a stronger military, a stronger defense. Those things aren't good for Russia. I think the distinctions are very clear, and you guys want to create a narrative that just doesn't exist.
Thank you, Sara. Sara knows how to put it out there. Folks, if you're not hearing the full tracks from the YouTube or Facebook Live broadcast, we will reconstitute it and repost it on Facebook later so you can see the whole package together. Apologize for that. Trump has endorsed new immigration bill to cut green card limits. You know, Tony, from the 1920s through 1965, there was virtually no immigration into the United States. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Ted Kennedy and the Democrats pushed to restore it because they wanted more voters. And so this is why that changed. But the tradition of the United States has not always been everybody come on in. That's never been the case. And it was always a merit-based system prior to the Democrats meddling with it. Now, Trump wants to restore us to a merit-based system. So he introduced, along with Senator Perdue and Senator Tom Cotton, something called the REINCE Act.
Yeah.
Okay. And the REINCE Act, sponsored by those two senators, would set standards. This is the biggest reform of legal immigration in 50 years, and let's hear what it's about.
As a candidate, I campaigned on creating a merit-based immigration system that protects U.S. workers and taxpayers, and that is why we are here today, merit-based. The RAISE Act, R-A-I-S-E, the RAISE Act will reduce poverty, increase wages, and save taxpayers billions and billions of dollars. It will do this by changing the way the United States issues green cards to nationals from other countries.
The president explained how liberal green card policies have hurt American workers and have helped non-skilled foreign workers, many of whom come here and wind up on the welfare system at the expense of working Americans who could otherwise benefit.
Green cards provide permanent residency, work authorization, and fast track to citizenship. For decades, the United States was operated and has operated a very low-skilled immigration system, issuing record numbers of green cards to low-wage immigrants. This policy has placed substantial pressure on American workers, taxpayers, and community resources. Among those hit the hardest in recent years have been immigrants and, very importantly, minority workers competing for jobs against brand new arrivals. And it has not been fair to our people, to our citizens, to our workers.
The RAISE Act raises the standards for immigration and thereby elevates the labor market in America for everybody.
The RAISE Act ends chain migration and replaces our low-skilled system with a new points-based system for receiving a green card. This competitive application process will favor applicants who can speak English, financially support themselves and their families, and demonstrate skills that will contribute to our economy.
The American welfare system has been an easy touch for foreign immigrants for years. We've been a magnet for that, and this will change that forever.
The RAISE Act prevents new migrants and new immigrants from collecting welfare and protects U.S. workers from being displaced. And that's a very big thing. They're not going to come in and just immediately go and collect welfare. That doesn't happen under the RAISE Act. They can't do that.
And it restores wages for working Americans in a significant way.
The green card reforms in the RAISE Act will give American workers a pay raise by reducing unskilled immigration. This legislation will not only restore our competitive edge in the 21st century, but it will restore the sacred bonds of trust between America and its citizens. This legislation demonstrates our compassion for struggling American families who deserve an immigration system that puts their needs first and that puts America first.
A central promise kept by the president.
Yeah, let's drill down on this just 1 minute because, for the last 25 to 30 years, a lot of you out there may have grown up or may just believe that when an immigrant was brought into this country that they were coming here because they wanted to work. If you really drill down on this and study this particular issue, they didn't all come here to work. And then the ones that did come in, they were able to reach back out to bring in 20 or 30 or 40 extended family. So you're not just bringing in one person, you're bringing in 25 or 30 relatives, cousins, and all these other things. And they don't all come. I was shocked a couple of years ago when I started looking into this to find out how many, green card people are here drawing welfare, coming out of my pocket, your pocket, and everybody else's. If they come to this country, it's like President Trump said, they should not ever get on welfare. If you can't take care of yourself and your family, and that's what this new thing is about, you come here, you need to take care of yourself. Don't come here assuming that we're going to take care of you.
Even the classic era when the immigrants came the large way from Europe, they always had to have somebody, a sponsor in America, to show that they could provide for themselves. They didn't come here with the expectation of getting a free ride. They came here with the opportunity in America. Opportunity is what they came for, not a free ride. And Jim Acosta from CNN, true to his form, decided to wax poetic about Emma Lazarus's poem, which was never inscribed on the Statue of Liberty. It was put on the pedestal later after a lobbying campaign. In fact, about almost 20 years after the statue was put up, it was a tribute to the French and the French Revolution and liberty. It was not about immigration. It was first put up. The Emma Lazarus poem was morphed into it. So he decided to lecture Steve Miller, a senior policy advisor to Trump, who writes some of Trump's greatest speeches, and he got taken to school by Steve Miller.
What you're proposing, or what the president is proposing here, does not sound like it's in keeping with American tradition when it comes to immigration. The Statue of Liberty says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. It doesn't say anything about speaking English or being able to be a computer programmer. Aren't you trying to change what it means to be an immigrant coming into this country? If you're telling you have to speak English, can't people learn how to speak English when they get here?
Well, first of all, right now, it's a requirement that to be naturalized, you have to speak English. So the notion that speaking English wouldn't be a part of our immigration systems would be actually very ahistorical. Secondly, I don't want to get off into a whole thing about history here, but the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of liberty enlightening the world. It's a symbol of American liberty lighting the world. The poem that you're referring to that was added later is not actually part of the original Statue of Liberty, but more fundamentally, the history, but more fundamentally,
you're saying
the
that
history,
does not represent.
I'm saying that
what
I'm
the
saying that
country
the
has always
notion.
thought of
I'm
as
saying the notion that
coming into this
I'm saying the notion.
Stephen, I'm sorry.
No,
that sounds
Jim,
like.
let me ask you a question.
That sounds like some national park revisionism.
No,
The
what I'm asking you is,
Statue of Liberty
Jim,
has always
Jim,
been
let me
a
ask you a
beacon of
question.
hope to the world
Jim,
for people to send
Jim, do you
their
believe-
people to this country,
Jim,
and they're not always going to speak
Jim,
English, Stephen.
Jim,
They're not
do you
always
believe-
going to be highly skilled. They're not always
Jim,
going to be
Jim,
somebody.
Jim, I appreciate your speech. Jim, I appreciate your speech. So let's talk about this.
It was a modest.
Jim, let's talk about this. In 1970, when we let in 300,000 people a year, was that violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land? In the 1990s, when it was 500,000 a year, was it violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land?
Was it violating?
When it was 700,000 a year. No, tell me what years. Tell me what years. Tell me what years meet. Tell me what years meet Jim Acosta's definition of the Statue of Liberty poem, law of the land.
Well, then he finishes him off. Let's go to cut number 3 when he tries to raise the issue. Does that mean that only people from England and Australia can come here? And watch how Steve Miller carves them up into little pieces.
But this
Jim,
this whole notion of, well, they could learn, they have to learn English before they get to the United States. Are we just going to bring in people from Great Britain and Australia?
Jim, I have to honestly say, I am shocked at your statement that you think that only people from Great Britain and Australia would know English. It reveals your cosmopolitan bias to a shocking degree that in your mind, no, this is an amazing moment. This is an amazing moment. That you think only people from Great Britain or Australia would speak English is so insulting to millions of hardworking immigrants who do speak English from all over the world. Jim, have you honestly never met an immigrant from another country who speaks English outside of Great Britain and Australia? Is that your personal experience?
Of course, there are people who come.
But that's not what you said, and it shows your cosmopolitan bias. And I just want to say,
it sounds like you're trying to engineer the racial and ethnic flow of people into this country.
Jim, that is one of the most outrageous, insulting, ignorant, and foolish things you've ever said, and for you that's still a really... The notion that you think that this is a racist bill is so wrong and so insulting. Jim, the reality is that the foreign-born population into our country has quadrupled since 1970. That's a fact. It's been mostly driven by green card policy. Now, this bill allows for immediate nuclear family members to come into the country, much as they would today, and then it adds an additional points-based system. The people who've been hurt the most, the people who've been hurt the most by the policy you're advocating are apparently just unfettered, uncontrolled migration. The people who've been hurt the most by the policy. The people who've been hurt the most by the policy that you're. The people who've been hurt the most by the policy you're advocating are immigrant workers and minority workers and African American workers and Hispanic workers.
Trump on Long Island. Tom Homan, who's the acting director of ICE, talking about the effort to fight the illegal immigration going on with criminal gangs, and what they're trying to do to curb the onslaught of those criminal gangs. Tom Homan was paying tribute to the police, working with the feds, and why sanctuary cities don't work in cut number 1.
We're here today to send a clear message to MS-13 and all other criminal gangs. You are not welcome here, and you will not find safe harbor. President Trump has made it a priority to get these criminals off the street. If they are in the U.S. illegally, out of the country. That's exactly what the men and women of ICE are going to do to keep America safe.
That was Tom Homan, back on camera. Tom Homan, we're going to go after these gangs with everything we've got, he said. Cut number 2.
Let me be clear. We will be relentless in our pursuit of every member, associate, and leader of MS-13. From the command and control element in El Salvador to the lone gang member walking within our communities, we will target all of you. We will bring a laser focus to the absolute destruction of this cowardly organization that terrorizes the most vulnerable in our country. It's time for the victimization and the fear in our communities to end. However, it's time for every member of MS-13 to be in fear. Look over their shoulder, look in their rearview mirror, because ICE and its partners are coming hard, and we're coming strong.
So we're going to take a break, Tony, after you have a few things to say about that.
Well, we've got Wayne. We got time to take the call.
Wayne,
yeah,
Wayne in Ormond Beach. Yes, Wayne.
What's up, Wayne?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the immigration. You've been talking about more the low-end workers, but the high-end workers, when they claim that there's no technical people here, it's a supply and demand issue. When you're ferrying in all these IT guys from India and China, our students, our children, are saying, well, there's no chance for me. Look at that. There's, 70% of that bank or Disney or whatever it is full of foreigners, and I can't compete with them for $20 a day.
Well,
yeah,
I believe they're going to limit the number that come in, though, Wayne. It's not going to be an unlimited number as it has been.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We got to give credit also to the throttling of that high end, because it gives our students, our sons and children, that are in colleges, a choice for a career that sort of disappeared with supply and demand.
You have a valid
demand
point.
because of the supply from.
Yeah, they've got to cut back on, what is it, the H-1B?
H-1B, yeah.
Yeah, they've got to cut those back.
I've been working with them guys for 40 years.
Yep. And then, of course, this also is reducing the total immigration from 1 million down to 500,000, which is another positive thing.
Yeah, that's going to cut it in half, Wayne. And I think that the numbers that they're going to bring through are going to be people who are going to be adding to the economy. And this economy is going to you got to account for this, Wayne. If Trump gets through the tax cuts and the healthcare reform and the other reforms of deregulation that he wants, this economy is going to be big enough to accommodate both the immigrants and the native population together, because this economy is going to be booming at 3 or 4%. And so when you have that, you won't have an issue of that job market being limited.
Yeah, and I think the motivation for students to go into these STEM programs, they'll see, hey, there are opportunities. They're not being all taken by foreigners.
You're absolutely right. Wayne, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. We have to go to a break, and we'll be back with a few other interesting tidbits when Trump Talk Live continues.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We'll return in just a moment with more Trump Talk Live, getting America right again.
It's time to funk up Daytona Beach this summer with the free Midtown Motown Concert Series. Head over to Cypress Park at the Midtown Center in Daytona Beach for the best rhythm and soul sounds all summer long. The concert series features the best Motown tribute bands over 6 weekends this summer, starting at 7 p.m. Also, visit the community programs booths with games and activities for kids, or pick up some food and drinks from local eateries and enjoy the concert from the bleachers or your chairs and blankets. Come get moving and grooving on Saturday, August 12th with Linda Cole at 7 p.m., followed by headliners, the Motowners, a Temptations and Four Tops tribute at 7:30. There's plenty of parking at Cypress Park and the Midtown Center. Cypress Park's located at 981 George Ingram Boulevard, Daytona Beach. For more information, text Motown to 40691. That's Motown to 40691. Text rates may apply. Sponsored by the City of Daytona Beach, Pepsi, and Metro PCS. Brought to you by WNDB.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Welcome back, Trumpublicans. We have quite a few interesting items for you. Mick Mulvaney, the OMB director for Trump, says it's White House policy that the Senate keep its focus on health care. They fumbled more times than not, but it's official policy that the Senate stay focused on health care, Obamacare, according to Mick Mulvaney. He told this to Jake Tapper on CNN, because he says, if you want to do tax reform, you got to get this nut cracked with Obamacare, with all those taxes that are in there. They've got to free up money. Now, Trump talked about the economy to small business this week. He talked about a number of things that have happened since he took office, including the energy boom that's resulted from his deregulation of all the oppressive Obama regulations. Let's start with that.
We're eliminating the massive restrictions on American energy, and numbers are going to be released next week that are going to be earth-shattering as to what we're doing with energy and the amounts of energy we're producing.
And he talked about business investor confidence as strong as it's ever been.
Our stock market has reached an all-time high today. All-time high. Think of it. Nobody ever talks about it. They don't talk about it.
And what about unemployment, Mr. President? What about unemployment?
And they don't talk about another factor, that unemployment just hit a 16-year low. They don't want to talk about it.
Remember when they scoffed at the notion that Trump's budget director had that we would have an economy going at 3% GDP, which was the historical norm for many years
we're almost there.
Before Obama? Well, here's what's happening.
And I think, to me, maybe the biggest is that GDP for the quarter just released at 2.6%. So that's so much higher than anticipated. Remember, I was saying we're going to try and hit 3% sometime over the next period of 2 years. Well, 2.6 is getting closer, Gary, closer than we thought and a lot faster than we thought. But don't worry about the 3. We're going to be higher than 3 in the not too distant future, too.
Thank you, President Trump. This is where we sit right now. We have the Mueller investigation. We have the Democrat shenanigans being largely ignored by the Trump hating media. We have the Hollywood folks setting their hair on fire over Trump. But we have the American workers. Right now, as I speak, Trump is speaking to a rally of rousing Trumpublicans in West Virginia, where the governor of West Virginia just announced that he's hopping from the Democrat Party
to the Republican Party.
Yay! And that bears some applause, folks, and it's all because of Donald J. Trump, his mission to make America great again. And do not lose faith, because Tony and I will be here every week.
Let's give a shout out to the lawnmower kid that's going to go to the White House. And President Trump has invited him to the White House
to cut the grass. We'll see you next week on Trump Talk Live.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
You've been listening to Trump Talk Live, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. Follow us at Volusia County Republican Party on Facebook or go to our website, TrumpTalkLive.com for updates. Join your Trumpublican hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter, for another fearless edition of Trump Talk Live next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on WNDB 1150 AM and 93.5 FM. Trump Talk Live is presented each week by the Republican Party of Volusia County, where we the people have the right voice when it comes to defending America's founding values. In God we trust, in America we believe.
The Republican Executive Committee of Volusia is responsible for the content of this advertising.